I have a friend who just popped in with me, Paul Rosenberg.
Hi, Paul.
How we doing, kids?
we're all doing pretty good. You took Amanda's place, but I don't think she cares.
I feel
think
very guilty about that.
I bet
never
you
walk into a room.
don't. Oh my goodness!
Wonderful to see you. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
You should have locked the door.
no, oh no, not when you're around. No, Paul, you are always welcome, and you know what the crush is that Brian is going to be going through.
Yes, I do.
Having run yourself, and it is, I have to say, it takes courage to run for office. Not only do you need the energy. The youthful spontaneity when someone gives you a call to say you got to come over here because there's someone who wants to meet you, and it's important that you do so. But just knowing that you're going to have to face people who may be very vitriolic, who may, in fact, want to question you in such a way as to raise your ire and make you want to attack them, just because that's why they're there.
Courage actually is second, in my opinion. Not to disagree with the host, but conviction comes first. If you have the conviction, if you have the stamina to stand behind your convictions, then the answers to the questions are easy. And the abuse, whether it's verbal or paid advertising, things like that, all comes easy after that. And Brian's got conviction. He's got his principles that he's always had. Near as I can tell, he's never wavered for them. And that's the type of thing that people, need to vote for. Not that I would presume to tell people how to vote, but I used to work for Congressman Lobiondo, and I got the chance to see not only how his office operated, but how he operated personally. And Frank is a man of conviction.
Yep.
I would see him come into the office, 5 o'clock in the morning, and he would push the button on the answering machine. Nobody has an answering machine like that anymore. But he would press the button, and he would listen to the good messages, the pleas for help, and he would listen to the nasty messages. And the nasty messages are the ones that he called back first, personally. And he would get on the phone, and he would listen, and he would offer every solution within his power and within his office's capabilities. And then he would say, very frankly, very honestly, if you really mean you're not going to vote for me the next election, because of this one thing I did, but you agree with 99% of what I do and the opinions that I share with you, then so be it. But I will still do the best I can do for you. And that was the type of character that he had. And that's the type of character we need in that office.
Yep. And you know what? Brian's got a lot of energy.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I was always very surprised at Frank Lobiondo, who is a very dear friend. And he was able to go all over this district. And this district is vast. I mean, you're on the road a lot. You must have a lead foot to get to all the places you probably get to in the course of a day.
I do my very best to
Stay within the law.
stay within the laws and
I knew you were going to say that.
make notice of all the signs that are there. And Paul, I keep using the word humbled, and I can't use another word. And I'm humbled with your words, and that's one of the things. You pointed to the conviction and the principles. I am who I am, and hopefully I can earn the support of South Jersey, but I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change who I am. If I'm going to go down in flames as a Republican conservative that sticks to my convictions and my principles, then so be it. But that is something that I will never change or waver on. And as you mentioned, Congressman Lobiondo is a model to emulate, and only try to get as much as possible. And in stories like that, there's countless stories. I even have my own story where I, called his office about a particular issue, and he got back to me. He left a voicemail that I still have on my phone to this day. And, that kind of constituent services is something that needs to continue going forward so that we have that representation. And it isn't a, let's see where the wind goes, or make a decision based on something that is needed based on the whip of a leader, et cetera. It's making sure that South Jersey comes first no matter what.
Yeah, well, you know what, Frank always was, that was always uppermost in his mind. And the fact that he was able to do it, he was such a fiscal conservative, not only in the district, but for his own office. I mean, he made sure that every penny was accounted for. He didn't do anything over and above what he felt was absolutely necessary. And he was sort of like, he worked under cover of night almost. People didn't realize how important he was to the security of our entire country and our allies. Because if he didn't call them back, as Paul said, you could call him and he would call you right back. Everybody knows that about Frank. They didn't know, however, that he was probably in some hot spot in the Middle East or in Africa, and was literally putting his life on the line in order to talk to people on the ground who could help us secure our own people, our own contractors, and keep America safe. And so when he didn't answer right away, a lot of people got angry, but he couldn't let them know where he was. But that's the kind of really decent, good, strong man he was in Congress. And I believe, Brian, that you could, there's no better person that I have met so far who could fill Frank's shoes.
Oh, that's,
and he is...
I appreciate that.
Well, like I say, I know Frank, and I know how hard a job it is. And I know that you are recently engaged. But I also understand from you that your beautiful Catherine is just as conservative and just as in love with her country as you are.
If not more, if that's even possible. She may even be more Republican than me.
Yeah, so she will stand behind you no matter what you have to do. I know Frank Lo-Biondo's beautiful wife, Tina, she was at home. She knew where he was. She worried about him. She prayed for him. And he came home intact. And I expect that wherever you land, and it seems to me that with your background, that you will probably land in something that has to do with the security of our country and our allies, that you too will be similar. You will need to have a partner such as Tina was, and with your Catherine.
Absolutely.
But I am really looking forward to it. I am, when you first told me, I was excited. I am really excited now. And I know with friends like Paul and with Bob and with Dennis and with Sam and all the other areas in our district coming behind you, that you're going to do great. Absolutely.
I appreciate that, and I'm going to continue to work for each and every one of those votes and make sure that I earn that trust and continue to go forward. And, we've got guys we've got Paul, who's a great sounding board, who's got so much experience in and out. And, he's been very instrumental in assisting with what we were able to do with the Young Republicans, because there were times where I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm going to try this. What do you think? And
sounding board.
It's been great. And I'm humbled that he's here. And, it's the words to describe it. Usually I have a synonym of some kind, but it's overwhelming what's happened today so far. And I'm going to continue to work and make sure that I'm that vessel, that vehicle for South Jersey. And be that relentless individual so that we have that representation, so that we have someone that's not only supporting our president, but making sure that we can solve these issues that are very complicated and do the best that we possibly can do, because there isn't one size fits all. There never is. And you need to be mindful of the individualistic aspect of some of the challenges that lie ahead. And obviously with elections, and Paul knows this obviously in his own experience, that things can get a little dicey, and it's just the nature of the beast. And I'm ready to work and fight for each and every one of the constituents in South Jersey. Should I earn the support of them?
That's right. Well, you know what, pro or con, every one of the people who live in the district, you'll be representing them. And like Frank Lo-Biondo would call those who had a problem with them first, get it out of the way. Be honest with them. Let them know that you're there for them, no matter whether they vote for you or not. You will stand with them. That should be what our country is doing now, instead of being so divided. We need people like you to bring people together, to let them know that everybody is under that same umbrella of being represented by the best person.